Hello. I have not done, well, I haven't posted a reading in quite some time. I've been kind of getting into my painting, and I started knitting. Besides single mom life status and all those responsibilities added in the mix, been kind of doing less tarot. But anyway, I got a new deck as one of my Christmas gifts. It's an Oracle deck, and I've been trying to get familiar with it, and I thought today was a good day to do a reading since it is New Year's Eve. So I'm using my Oracle deck, and I'm also using the True Black Tarot. Kind of hard to see from that. Most people that are into tarot familiar with this deck. And as per usual, this was just going to be a reading for me. But as I got past the first set of cards, I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna read this and record this. So as this is an Oracle deck and I'm still getting used to it, I just kind of got to read out of the book. But Hades here, it says, the first card that came out was Hades. It says, Lord of Riches, Equanimity, wisdom, inevitability. I had to look up that word, not only how to pronounce it, equanimity, but what it meant. And basically that word means being able to take the good and bad of any situation and still be able to, be fair, basically is what that means. So in the book here, it says Hades. Let's see what it says about Hades. Did I pass it? I think I did pass it. Okay. Hades, Lord of the Riches. Unlike the decadent, fickle gods of Olympus, Hades cares more for the people under his rule than he does his own pleasure. He endures their sneers and abuses with equanimity, focused on his goals and his responsibilities, knowing that eventually all will come to end in his realm. Hades reminds us to ignore petty, unworthy distractions and to focus on that which will make a real difference in the world. So I pulled the Oracle cards first, and then I just pulled some cards to kind of explain a little more. So for Hades, we got the Ace of Cups in reverse and the Two of Wands in the upright. So I think with the Ace of Cups in reverse, this is based, and with Hades here, it's saying in combination again with the Two of Wands, all three cards together. I don't know why this is so difficult for me right now. Like, I feel like I've never done this before. I think what this is saying is that this year, in 2022, the best things for you to focus on is yourself. Self-love, working on healing any wounds that you've got going on, really tuning out any naysayers or anyone that's trying to be contradictory to what you got going on in your own little personal life, in your little bubble. And I think doing that is doing what most aren't doing coming in the year of 2022, because a lot of people, I feel, are focused on what's happening around the world and what's happening outside of themselves, and really just getting themselves distracted by everything else that's going on, and the things that are really important and detrimental to you and your health are being put at the wayside because of, anxiety, fear, and all the things that you see going on, especially in the media. And I think that's further driven home here with the Two of Wands, because in this deck, for me, the Two of Wands always reminds me of the new earth. And I'm sure if you're here and you're listening to tarot, you've heard of this. Actually, one of my very first readings that I tried to post was talking about the earth splitting into two. And I could never upload it. Sorry, I'm just noticing some things on this card, and I'm like, are they supposed to be there, or is something splashed? Something is splashed on this card. That frustrates me. Anyway, I always look at this card, and normally this card is saying choose a choice between your comfort or your adventure. But I think for this is saying, like, do you, even if doing you means you're the only one doing it. And it may feel like you're the only one doing it, because you find yourself surrounded by all these people doing everything that is supposed to be done according to this place and these rules and these laws, while you're over here in this place doing your thing according to your own rules, your own laws, and your own choices. And that seems like maybe something, I mean, that's kind of like super abstract, but basically what I'm getting out of that is the reason why they're here instead of here is because they don't even know this exists. You're here and you know that they both exist. You see the difference. You see the separation. You see all these people, or in this case, it's bees. Bees are a hive. They have a hive mind. They don't think for themselves. They do what the hive does. You are doing you. You are literally being an alien of sorts to your own nature of what you've always been told, how it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to work, what you're supposed to do, and how you're supposed to do it. And you're literally just like, okay, yeah, but I'm gonna do it this way. And nobody's going to be able to stop you. The only person that's going to be able to stop you is yourself. And I feel like the only way you're going to accomplish getting to this place is through self-love, through healing, through looking to yourself to fill your cup, and to no one or anything else outside of you. And as Hades talks about, the reason why he's able to love his subjects, even if they sneer at him and make fun of him and they're just like, you're stupid, like, what are you doing? You're not doing it right, or whatever. Hades has the wisdom and the perspective to see things that they can't see. And that's what happens when you choose yourself. That's what happens when you make your own rules. That's what happens when you remove yourself from the chaos of the hive and think for yourself and own your sovereignty. Hades thinks for himself. He is the Lord of the underworld. He is the Lord of riches in this card. He thinks for himself, and he is able to see things that others can't because of his perspective and because of his wisdom that he's gained through that perspective. And it is absolutely inevitable that all these drone worker bees will either die and see that perspective that he sees. They will see it in death, or they'll see it in life. that is really the choice here. It is not choosing your comfort or choosing your adventure, or choosing an adventure. It's choosing yourself or choosing others. And not feeling bad about choosing yourself, because you know eventually it's absolutely inevitable that all those people that you decided to not choose over yourself will see what you see. But they're just allowing themselves to be distracted right now. So let's look at the next card here. Martyr. So this says Martyr, matron of the blind, honesty, shame, restitution is the next card here. And look at this. Look at how similar these cards look. Isn't that nuts? It looks like the male and female version of the same card, of the same idea. The Magician came out sideways, so usually when that happens, it's like there's some type of a challenge with this energy or position. So let me just read about this one here. So bear with me, because the makers of this deck is not really one of my favorites, and they make cheap cards. I really love the art on the cards, but like, you see how it's bowed? It came like that. And yeah, card stock is not very thick. So again, I love the art and what the cards say and all that stuff, but the quality of the cards is crap. And that includes the book, because there's no numbers. That's the table of contents, the language. So I have to literally go page by page to find these things I think about when I think about making my own deck. And I will do that at some point. Definitely will. I have started sketching out some ideas for my own deck, but I'm distracted with other projects right now. So, as Hades does, I will focus on what I choose to focus and what's important to me in the now, and love myself, and the rest will fall into place as it should, perfectly. All right, Morgan. Where are you? Here we are. Martyr, matron of the blind. And I don't know how to say the name of this deck. Masolia, we'll say that, Masolia. I don't know if that's how you say it. The affliction of blindness represents a blindness of the soul. Mortals who in life believe themselves extremely keen-sighted may find themselves so stricken upon their death if they live their lives in ignorance and delusion. The actions untampered by pity and compassion. Oh, their actions untampered by pity and compassion. It is the task of the martyr to care for these souls, to guide them to reflection upon their sins, shame at their previous selves, and restitution through thoughtful service and care for others. Once such a soul can see their own faults, weakness, and the efforts of one's actions on others clearly and truly atone for them, only then can this blindness be cured. The martyr invites us to look clearly upon ourselves and our deeds and see the blindness in our souls, so that we may not be eternally stricken. Okay. So again, I'm drawn back to the Hades card and the inevitability. I don't know why that was so difficult. And the Magician here, so as in most decks, the Magician is always about forcing his will upon a situation in order to have a desired outcome. It's just that the Magician is able to do magic, so he uses his will to create the magic, which in effect creates new situations or changes the outcomes of situations where they may have, where if those situations were progressing as they normally would without any tamper or interference, it may have ended a different way. I just heard be careful what you wish for. Wow. Honesty, shame, and restitution. I feel like what this is talking about is just saying that the challenge with this magician energy is we all have the ability to be the magician. The magician is nothing special. The only difference between most people and the magician is that he is an astute student and a dedicated student and has dedicated his life to his magic and to figuring out how it works through trial and error and experimentation. He has access to all the same tools and energies and magic that we all have. He just went with it and ran with it. I just got the image of Fight Club in my head, how the guy on Fight Club, if you haven't seen it, for God's sakes, go see the movie. But the main character had a split personality and didn't realize it, but he was just running with it. He was running with it, and he was in like full psychosis mode. And I don't know where I was going with that. It's just like put me out of my mind there. Well, he made it his reality. And because people believed in him and saw the magic that he had in him, even though it was pure insanity to the majority of society and everyone around them that wasn't in that group, they followed him, they loved him, they adored him, they did everything, his followers did everything that he said to do blindly. And he was a victim of his own split personality. Because he really just ran with it and went with it. And I think that's the challenge, is because we all have the ability to be the magician. It's like, do we really, even if we have the ability to do that and be that, is it really in our best interest, never mind everyone else's, to be that, to do that? I think it's saying to use your power carefully. Yes, love yourself. Love yourself. Fill your own cup. Don't look to others for, for guidance or to just be a follower, But at the same time, and you're not doing these things to gain followers, but it's just like you gotta make sure you find your balance with this power, because I feel like in the upcoming year 2022, there's going to be a lot of people realizing their true power and true abilities. And it doesn't have to be as fanciful as a magician. You know, maybe it could just be you picked up a new hobby and all of a sudden you find out that you're really fucking good at it and you just really excel at it, and it's just so much fun and it's your passion and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, that can't be the only thing that you do, because if it is, your life will fall apart. You know, you got bills to pay, you got a job, maybe you got a job, but most likely you have bills to pay, unless you're, you know, got a sugar mama or sugar daddy or something. I shouldn't have closed the book on this martyr thing. Fuck. I just want to double check it. Shit. Anubis. That's my kitty's name, but he's in this deck too. Oh, blindness of the soul. Something about not seeing here. Something isn't being seen fully. Something isn't being understood fully. Something is missing. Misinformation, I just heard. And that's a fun word going around that a lot of people are saying nowadays. But I feel like this is saying right. Those that are forcing their will on other people and on circumstances and trying to change the overall outcome or the decisions that people make through manipulation, they will answer to their follies. It's as simple as that. So if that's the path that you choose to take, service to self, you will pay in some way, shape, or form. You will not escape restitution. That's what restitution means. You will pay. And, you know, you might not feel bad for what you did, what you were doing when you were doing it because you thought you were going to get away with it. But when you don't get away with it, you're going to feel that shame. Everyone's going to know. Things are going to be brought to light, and it's not going to be through any like hoopla or like some crusader saving the day. It's literally just going to be through their own demise, because they're blind. They don't see what they're doing, because the only way to do what they're doing is to tune certain things out, which if they weren't tuning those things out, they wouldn't be able to do them. Like the magician that tunes out everything except his practice in his magic. Like the guy in Fight Club who was so fucking crazy that he didn't even know he had a split personality. But it all came from him ignoring about how miserable he was and just continuing to do the things that he was supposed to do, that he was always taught. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what everyone does. This is, you got to have a job. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to, you know, do what society says. There's so many directions that could go in. And I'm just going to pull another card. Give me another, tell me a little more about this magician and the martyr here. Oh. All right, so I always have to look at these. And the Six of Swords and the Ten of Pentacles in the reverse. Let's see, can we see these? So okay. We'll start with the Ten of Pentacles. This is talking about misery. This is talking about lack. This is talking about focusing on what you don't have versus what you do have. And because of this lack, because of this inversion of wanting more instead of appreciating what you have, like truly appreciating it. Because if you truly appreciate what you have, you don't think about more. You think about, like, you know, I don't know, you eat a very good meal and you're full after you eat your meal. And you're just like, oh man, that was so good. And you know, in that moment, that's where you're at, and you appreciate it and you love it, and you're just appreciating feeling full and all that good stuff. But then you know, that ego part of you comes in, and it's just like, man, I wish I had more, not for now, but for later. What that thought implies is that there isn't something already better that's going to be available to you later. What that thought implies is you're not going to have anything for later. That's why you wish that you had more of that for later. And that is lack mentality. And when you're programmed in that thinking, no wonder you have to try and be the magician. No wonder you have to try and force your will to try and get the things that you want, because you're not in flow with the natural way of the way the universe works, because the universe is your mirror. It gives you more of what you're putting out. It gives you more of what you are. And if all you are is lack, that is all that you're going to get back is lack. And with the Six of Swords in the reverse, I feel like this is saying like you're stuck. Maybe not you specifically, but those that are struggling with this ego. I think the magician is a personification of the ego. And the ego served its purpose. But more and more, as you change your vibration to a higher state, when you start to love yourself and realize that it doesn't matter what everyone is saying, thinking, or doing, because you're already here. Once you start to get to that point, I keep losing my train of thought. Right. Once you get to that, once you start raising your vibratory field higher and higher, the ego serves less and less of a purpose for you. And in fact, usually becomes a hindrance and an obstacle and a constant struggle. Because the ego and fear go hand in hand. And if you continue to look to everyone and everything outside of you, and you listen to what everyone and everything outside of you is saying to you that's negative, it's going to produce fear. And it's just like a never-ending perpetual cycle of fear and doom and gloom, and then lack. And I think it's like it says here, honesty. It's time to get real. It's time to be honest with yourself. It's time to really assess what's important to you and what's not. And to hell with who doesn't like it. Because if you're not careful, you'll find yourself in this trap. You'll find yourself stuck and not able to leave or unwilling to leave. And the waters, and if you do leave, the waters that you find will always be treacherous. There will always be obstacles, and you will always not have enough, according to your mindset, to endure those obstacles. So I feel like that's going to be a challenge in year 2022, to really let go of your ego, to let go of lack mentality, and accept the things that you may have done that you're not proud of or you don't like. Accept them, and then once you accept them, they're gone. Because the past isn't real, nor is the future. The only thing that is real is now. And in the now, if all you're doing is feeling your regret and thinking about the things that you don't have and the choices that you made to get you to where you are now and how you wish that you would have done things differently, they're just going to lead you to a dark place. You have to, if you're living in the now and you accept what you consider to be your past or actions that have already took place, decisions that have already occurred, you accept it. And then you release it. That is what happens when you live in the now. And you don't have to carry those burdens with you anymore because you choose not to. If you don't accept it, you will carry them. And they will serve you, but they will serve in torturing you if you don't make the choice to do what's right for you. Know that just as perfection, beauty, it's in the eye of the beholder. It's just an idea. It's not something that's a standard or set in stone. So if you don't forgive yourself, but you're sitting there looking for other people to forgive you, what does that even matter if they forgive you when you don't forgive yourself? Let go of your ego. I think that's a theme coming up here. Let go of your lack. Embrace the now. All right. Moving on to Osiris, God King of Duat. Commitment, acquisition,